Mangwana ni Mwandelepo Vukenjani Klekwa Svanave Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. You are joined by Glenn Rashpura and Ashwin Mbere. Now, as the nation continues to mourn Dr. Hage G. Geingob, Information Minister Honorable Theofelus announced that government will declare Sunday and Monday, 25 and 26 February 2024, respectively, as public holidays to honor the late president, His Excellency Dr. Hage G. Geingob.
Getting into what you can expect in today's broadcast, Ivory Coast defeats Nigeria in final to lift the Africa Cup of Nations trophy. Senegalese security forces on Friday clashed with hundreds of protesters opposed to the delay of the presidential election. And Zimbabwe is considering overhauling its exchange rate regime as the government seeks new measures to save its struggling currency. Gore will also update us on what's happening in Zimbabwe. To stay tuned for this and more on Africa Good Morning.
Every day, you make choices that make you legendary. Journey together with us on the path to securing your legacy as a member of the League of Legends. With the Select Platinum Bundle Fee Premium Bank offering, you will access tools that will enable you to thrive. If you earn 850,000 Namibian dollars per annum or more, you can apply for this offering today via bankvinted.com.na for only 447 Namibian dollars per month. Bank Vinted, a member of Capricorn Group.
Now, as we get into our top stories, the following footage is of an upsetting nature and would like to encourage sensitive viewers to be aware of that. Now, Senegalese security forces on Friday clashed with hundreds of protesters opposed to the delay of a presidential election as the Justice Minister rejected allegations that the postponement was an attempted power grab. At least 2 people were confirmed dead. Less than 3 weeks before the February 25 vote, Parliament voted to push it back to December, sealing an extension of President Macky Sall's mandate that has provoked fears that one of the remaining democracies in coup-hit West Africa is under threat. In the capital Dakar, police in riot gear fired tear gas, stun grenades, and what appeared to be rubber bullets at crowds of protesters who were burning tires and throwing stones in the most serious bout of unrest yet over the delay. A Reuters reporter said some of the demonstrators waved Senegalese flags while others shouted slogans like "Macky Sall is a dictator."
In our next story, Julius Malema, who launched the EFF's election manifesto, renewed his commitment towards the people of Palestine and claimed support for Russia, saying that NATO is disguising as Ukraine. He thanked the people of South Africa for loving the people of Palestine and continued to show them love against apartheid Israel. The leader of the economic freedom fighters took aim at Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, accusing him of being a warlord. The military campaign conducted in Gaza by Israel's war cabinet has killed over 27,000 Palestinians and wounded over 66,000. Malema added that the people of Palestine are not against the Jewish nation. The people of Palestine do not want to kill Jewish women and children. The people of Palestine want their self-determination. If there is anyone who is killing innocent people, that is Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. He is a warlord, an international criminal, and he must be charged. The date for this year's general elections is yet to be announced.
And on a sad note, Kenya's marathon world record holder Kelvin Kiptum and his coach were killed in a traffic accident in the Rift Valley yesterday, cutting short the promising career of the only man to have run the endurance classic in less than 2 hours and a minute. The 24-year-old set the world record at the Chicago Marathon in October with a time of 2 hours and 35 seconds, which surpassing the mark run by compatriot Eliud Kipchoge in Berlin 2022. Kiptum, who clocked 3 of the 7 fastest marathon times in history, had been hoping to become the first man to run the marathon in under 2 hours in race conditions at Rotterdam in April. We are shocked and deeply saddened to learn of the devastating loss of Kelvin Kiptum and his coach, Gervais Hakizimana, World Athletics President Sebastian Coe said in a statement.
Now, delegates from around the world gathered in Panama City for the 10th conference of the parties, COP, the WHO Framework Convention on Tobacco Control. It was the first in-person COP since 2018, with earlier meetings held remotely because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Although in the past 20 years, tobacco prevalence among adults has declined, the WHO FCTC chief warned the dangers the industry poses for the environment. Dr. Blanco Marquizo said that the lands used for tobacco cultivation are lands that cannot be quickly reconverted to be used again because tobacco, on the one hand, is very demanding in terms of soil nutrients, but it also requires the intensive use of pesticides, so tobacco is really very polluting. The World Health Organization warned last year that many countries facing food security issues were also big tobacco growing economies. Some 8 million people die each year from tobacco use worldwide.
Now, President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa was in Namibia to pay his respects and condolences on the passing of Dr. Hage G. Geingob, and President Angolo Mbumba briefed the South African president on the new and fast changes implemented following the sudden passing of the country's third president.
We were on the government side. We have to make difficult but quick changes.
Yes.
Deputy Prime Minister, our well-experienced Minister of International Relations, we have to ask her to move up.
Yeah.
And that was, the people accepted that. And the party, our SWAPO party accepted that. The Minister in the Presidency and the Press Secretary remain in their position. Yesterday we had to appoint another Deputy Prime Minister, but a minister who has nothing to do with international relations, but works and transport, because of his seniority, not because of the portfolio he's holding. And we have now a younger, not so young, Minister of International Relations. We hope he will hack it. He will not be the level of your foreign minister, highly experienced former education minister and other portfolio.
Stay with Africa Good Morning as we talk to talent Gore in Zimbabwe after the break.
Let me show you something. Don't worry. Next time, I check nice.
Thanks, but it's okay. FNB Insurance checks nicer.
At FNB Insurance, we provide cover for all your valuables, from your phone to your laptop to your car. FNB Insurance. You value it, we cover it. T's and C's apply.
We now talk to our correspondent in Zimbabwe, Talent Gore, who will be filling us in on what's happening over there. Good morning, Talent.
Good morning, Glenora. Good morning, Ashwin, and Africa. Good morning.
Now, Sengeso Chabangu, the self-imposed interim Secretary General of the Citizen Coalition for Change, has appointed himself as a senator and will be joining Parliament. What's happening there?
Yes, so Sengeso Chabangu, who claimed is appointed himself as a senator and will be joining Parliament soon. Chabangu recalled most of the elected opposition parliamentarians and councillors and has named himself among candidates to fill proportional representation posts in the Senate. Chabangu has initiated numerous recalls on elected CCC MPs and councillors he claims were imposed on August 2023 elections by Nelson Chamisa. So he has recalled most of them, and right now he has actually called himself a senator. He's going to be joining Parliament soon as a senator. And apparently the Citizens Coalition for Change, some of its members have also been called by Chabangu to fill in the same PR proportional representation seats as senators in the Senate. So right now, that is all that is happening, and most of the citizens, those who voted, they are calling out Thabang, saying that what he's doing is wrong, and the parliament itself allowed such to happen because he was never voted in, and he has no place in the Citizens Coalition for Change. And they're saying that he has destroyed the Citizens Coalition for Change party, but apparently Parliament is allowing him to do whatever he wants. He's recalling elected members of Parliament, and he has named himself as a senator. So now citizens feel betrayed, and they're saying that he has destroyed the opposition.
Wow. Staying with the CCC, Job Sikala has signed out. Tell us more.
Yes, I think for the past 2 years we've been reporting that Job Sikala, who is a member of the Citizens Coalition for Change, was in prison, and recently he was released from prison. So upon his release, he had a press conference where he said that he was dumping Citizens Coalition for Change, and he was no longer a Citizens of Change. He said that his decision that he feels the opposition, that party didn't do much for him when he was in prison in regards to his release, and he said that he feels like the Citizens Coalition for Change party is now dead, and there was a need for another opposition party to take place. So he has dumped Citizens Coalition for Change, and he said that he was doing consultative workshop to see to ensure that he forms another party of his own, and is leaving Nelson Chamisa, who was the president of the CCC. He also feels that Nelson Chamisa betrayed him, and he did not do much to help him when he was in prison in regards to him being released. Sikala spent more than 2 years in prison and was released from prison.
Now, getting to your last story, government has exempted a number of goods and services from value-added tax in a move that is likely to result in price reductions. This does sound like good news for consumer pockets.
Yes, this does sound good for consumer pockets. So according to statutory 15 of 2024, the goods and services which have been exempted from value-added tax include water for domestic use, local authority rates, domestic electricity, some agricultural equipment and machinery, and sanitary ware. Also exempted are some fuel and fuel products, ethanol fuel, road toll fees, tobacco, commission charges on tobacco sales, goods and services supplied by medical statutory bodies, and secondary service by the National Pharmaceutical Company. So these are some of the services that have been exempted from tax, and VAT, value-added tax, was introduced in Zimbabwe in 2004, and you all understand that the VAT is an indirect tax on consumption charged on the supply of taxable goods and services. It is levied on transaction rather than directly on income or profit. The tax is also levied on the importation of goods and services. So as of this February, some of the services and goods in Zimbabwe have been exempted from a value-added tax.
We'll certainly be talking to you to get an update on that story and others. Thank you very much, Talent, for joining us from Zimbabwe. Let's swing over to the weather. Now, as we know, Namibian elections are set to take place later this year, but Cyril's capital takes a look at elections taking place elsewhere in the world. In its chart of the week, a total of 65 out of 195 countries have planned elections in 2024, with notable countries including South Africa, Botswana, Russia, UK, and the United States of America. The map demonstrates the time of elections. Lighter colors show elections happening soon, while darker colors show elections happening further in the year. Now, countries labeled white are yet to confirm the exact month of their general elections. Elections differ from presidential to National Assembly, Senate, House of Representatives, Legislative Chamber, House of Commons, and other relevant political voting. Out of the 65 countries, there are over 2 billion people eligible to vote for a party or person in their respective nations, says Sirius's Leon Berger, who compiled the chart of the week.
Zimbabwe is considering overhauling its exchange rate regime as the government seeks new measures to save its struggling currency. The latest proposals will be in a monetary policy statement. The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe and Treasury are working jointly, according to Governor John Munguja. According to two people who wish to remain anonymous, options being studied by working groups from the Central Bank and Treasury include scrapping a weekly foreign currency auction started in 2020, shifting the mandatory 25% surrender requirement for exporters to the interbank system rather than the central bank, and allowing lenders to set a market-reflective exchange rate. The unit has slumped more than 40% against the US dollar this year after plunging 90% in 2023, making it the world's worst-performing currency over the period. The depreciation underpins the economic hardships in the Southern African nation of around 16 million people and evokes memories of the currency collapse and hyperinflation of the late 2000s, sparked by a political and economic crisis.
Those have been our economic news stories. We're going to head over to the indicators just before Ari joins us for the sport. It's time for us to cross over to South Africa and have a chat with Ari Hochad about the weekend's sport. How are you, Ari?
Yes, good morning, Ashwin and everyone. Yes, out of breath. It was a busy sporting weekend. Finished a few hours ago with the Super Bowl final. So well done, your team won there, the Kansas City Chiefs. Ashwin, you must be happy.
Oh, for sure I am. Of course, I could use more hours of sleep. I've been up since 3 a.m. watching the game, and I finished it on my way to the office, watching it on my phone. But yeah, no, it was a fantastic one. Chiefs and Arsenal, all the Reds that I care about, got it done. Give us the stories when you're ready.
Yes, I'll close off with the Super Bowl final. It was firstly AFCON final, African Cup of Nations, was a long tournament, many weeks. It was good success for Namibia and South Africa in the tournament, but it's all orange. It is Ivory Coast, the winners, the third title. They beat Nigeria by 2-1. The Euro, Sebastian Haller, a great story there. Also, Sebastian Haller scoring the winning goal, and also Sebastian Haller overcame cancer that he was diagnosed in 2022. And so it's a great story. Sebastian Haller scoring the winning goal for Ivory Coast. The winners AFCON 2024, actually 2023, they called the tournament. And third place for South Africa, winning the third place playoff. So a good tournament also for Bafana. English Premier League that you touched on, it was the big four teams that came through big time over the weekend. It's Arsenal that beat West Ham. That was away at West Ham by 6-0, a massive win. The biggest away win for Arsenal in the history, and the biggest away loss for West Ham since 1963, 6-0, a massive score for Arsenal. And Liverpool win at home against Burnley 3-1. Manchester City won at home against Everton 2-0. And then a very good win for Manchester United away to Aston Villa 2-1. That was a late game yesterday. And it is all very tight at the top four at the moment in the English Premier League. Liverpool 54 points, City 52. It's Arsenal 52 points, and Manchester United now 6 on 41. And that is the English Premier League. On to cricket briefly, the SA20 finals, that was at Newlands, Sunrisers, Eastern Cape winning there. That's firstly the women's team, South African women's team. They lost the third and deciding 50 over ODI against Australia. They lost that by 110 runs. And the SA20 final, Sunrisers, Eastern Cape, they beat the Durban Super Giants in Cape Town in the final by 89 runs. Back-to-back wins for the Sunrisers, Eastern Cape in the SA20 tournament. Then on to some rugby news. It is the Six Nations rugby, always big action. That's England playing against Wales. It was England that beat Wales by 16 points to 14. That game played at Twickenham. And then Ireland also beating Italy by 36 points to 0. Those are the two unbeaten teams after 2 weekends, Ireland and England. And it's France that beat Scotland by 20 points to 16. That is the Six Nations rugby. And then to close off, it is probably one of the biggest sporting events. That is the Super Bowl 58. It was Kansas City Chiefs playing in red. They beat the San Francisco 49ers by 25-22. That was in extra time. That's why Ashwin had to watch it on his telephone. It went into extra time. Impressive touchdown orchestrated by man of the match, or MVP as they call it, most valued player. There we go, MVP. Is Patrick Mahomes. You can remember that name, Patrick Mahomes. It's his third title. Difficult to win these tournaments, difficult to win even one. He's got 3 now, and it's the Kansas City Chiefs that played in 4 of the last 5 finals, winning 3 of them. And so it's 20 years, been 20 years since the team won back-to-back. So the Kansas City Chiefs, deserved winners of the Super Bowl 58 in the United States. So enjoy your day. It's a magic Monday for you, Ashwin. Good wins for you. So great sport day for everyone.
Thank you very much, Ari. Yes.
Ashwin, it seems like I just started getting into soccer. Now I must get into American football.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, let me give you a little breakdown on why this is important. Of course, 3 Super Bowl rings is already insane. But the ghost he's chasing is the ghost of Tom Brady, who has 7 Super Bowl rings. So we can't afford a setback on any year, you know what I mean? And Patrick Mahomes is a fantastic player. They are saying on eye test alone, he's the best football player to have ever played. But we're going to have to see how his career unfolds. Those have been our stories on Africa. Good morning. Stay with us as we bring you the highlights from the broadcast shortly.
Connection. It's in the human touch. The feeling
that wasn't me.
It inspires us
and
empowers
I think it was maybe Ari, he was still on.
New conversations, unlocks the power of advice, and makes an impact on your life. At Alex Forbes, we pioneer insight to provide you with advice that connects your decisions of today to your impact tomorrow.
All right, thank you for staying with Africa. Good morning. A couple of behind the scenes happening over there, but let's get into the highlights from this morning. So these are some of the countries which are expected to head to elections this year, and what you're looking at is the chart of the week, which was done by Cirrus Capital, as they anticipate elections across the world. Over 2 billion voters expected. And then in Senegal, Senegalese security forces on Friday clashed with hundreds of protesters who were opposed to the delay of a presidential election, as the justice minister rejected allegations that the postponement was an attempted power grab. And with regards to Julius Malema, he launched the EFF's election manifesto and renewed his commitment towards the people of Palestine. All right, those have been our stories, and I would like to remind you that Information Minister Honorable Theofelus announced that government will declare Sunday and Monday, the 25th and 26th of February 2024, respectively, as public holidays to honor the late President, Dr. Hage G. Geingob.
And with that, we've come to the end of the broadcast. Thank you for joining us on this Monday morning. From me, Glenn Rashipura.
And me, Ashwin Berry. Siraja Kanaka.